Hello and welcome to our webinar today. Today we will talk about the Insurtech and the Fintech market in Germany. And it's a pleasure to welcome so many participants from all over the world to our session today. My name is Kim and I am Director Trend and Innovation Scouting at Germany Trade and Invest. What is the Startup Germany tour all about? This webinar is part of the pre-program of the Startup Germany tour, which has the objective to attract startups from all over the world to Germany and build bridges with all sorts of innovation stakeholders from the public and private sector. During the actual physical, or let's say hybrid tour in November this year, the pre-program running online until then brings together international startups and entrepreneurs and offers them the chance to participate in reverse corporate pitch events, virtual matchmakings, one-on-one meetings, and you can learn about the business culture and market entry to Germany. In total, this is the 5th time that the Startup Germany takes place. I was lucky to participate the first time, so it's really great that I can be here today when it's the 5th time of this tour. This year, the tour includes AHK, which means the German Chambers of Commerce abroad, from more than 40 countries from each continent. And today, we actually have about 100 registrations from around 25 countries. So this whole show would not be possible with the great support of the organizers and fantastic partners. So first of all, let me thank the Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Dortmund, namely Dominik Stute and his team. Then the Chambers of Commerce and Industry in North Rhine-Westphalia, the Association of German Chambers of Commerce and Industry, all the German Chambers of Commerce abroad, making this Startup Germany tour a truly global event. And locally, we partner with the Ministry of Economy, Innovation, Digitization and Energy of the state of North Rhine-Westphalia and NRW Global Business, the Economic Development Organization of the state of North Rhine-Westphalia. So, what do we want to achieve today? We want to introduce you to the German market, the Digital Hub Initiative, and provide you useful market entry information from my distinguished colleague, Stephanie Burgdorf, who I will introduce in a minute. Also, we have 2 fantastic panelists today, and we can make a deep dive into the Insurtech and Fintech sector in Germany. So, with no further ado, I would like to hand over to Stephanie in a minute. Stephanie has more than 10 years experience with GTAI. She has advised more than 100 of startups in terms of market entry to Germany, startups, corporates, all sorts of companies. And it's my personal privilege to have her in my team working on the internationalization of the Digital Hub Initiative on behalf of Germany's Ministry for Economic Affairs and Energy. Thank you, Stephanie, to be with us today and welcome on stage. The floor is yours.
Hi, Kim, and hi, everyone. Thanks for the very kind introduction, Kim, and happy to meet you all. As Kim, I was saying, I've been working for Germany Trade and Invest quite a while, and today I will tell you a little bit more about Germany Trade and Invest, about the startup ecosystem in Germany, and about our Digital Hub initiative. So first of all, what is Germany Trade and Invest? We are the economic development agency of Germany, and we do have more than 50 offices abroad. We have 3 main pillars of our activities. The first one is that we support German companies when setting up a business in foreign markets. Then we promote Germany as a business location throughout the world. And which goes hand in hand, we assist foreign companies, as you guys, setting up your business in Germany. And what does this exactly mean? So we support your project management, right from the beginning of your expansion strategy, let's say it this way. And we provide you with all kinds of industry information, for instance, Insurtech and Fintech. And of course, we also inform you about R&D, we coordinate site visits, we coordinate partnerings, etc. And all of our investor-related services are free of charge, which is quite good too. And of course, all of the information is treated confidential. But let's jump into the German startup ecosystem. Oh, just a second. Sorry. Let's do it this way. Okay, so I brought some figures from last year. And as you can see, despite the COVID pandemic, there have been quite a few funding rounds in Germany. So almost 3,000 startups founded their business. Almost 3,000, and already almost 5.3 billion VC money was invested in startups. Regarding the industries, ICT is leading up front, followed by food, retailer, consumer, and also healthcare, obviously due to COVID as well. When we have a look at the business models, probably not too surprisingly that software as a service is leading, and followed by online platforms, software development, and e-commerce. Here you see a selection of Germany's most successful startups, and you probably all know N26 or Mambu, and all of the startups that you see here are ranked unicorns. So actually, there has been a lot of development regarding startups and regarding unicorns in the last few years in Germany. So actually, there's a lot going on, and you can be part of it if you wish. When scaling to Germany, we figured that there are basically 9 or maybe even 10 reasons for a startup to choose Germany as a location. First one is that we are the leading economy and we are Europe's economic engine, let's say it this way, and we are the world's 4th largest economy at all, and we do have a large domestic market of more than 82 million people, which offers quite a good range of opportunities for establishing a product in Germany. Then secondly, we are the world's number 3 exporter, so we are a global player, and we have one of the highest productivity rates in the world. Fourth, we have a very good education system with very high standards and, for instance, vocational training, meaning that people get their education not only at the universities, but also on on-site training on the job in companies. And then Germany is also Europe's number 1 location for research. On the second page here, you see some more arguments. The first one is the 6th one here is the first-class infrastructure. So Germany is Europe's number 1 logistics market and also in the center of Europe. So whenever you are establishing a business in Germany, it's very easy then to spread out in other countries in Europe. We also have inviting incentives, for instance, for the reimbursement of direct investment or incentives for labor and R&D. And we do have quite competitive tax conditions. And last but not least, we have a very high quality of life in Germany. I was mentioning a 10th reason, and I will come to that in a second, which from our point of view is the Digital Hub initiative. But before we start telling you a little bit more about this initiative, here you find some information about what you can get at Germany Trade and Invest. So whenever you're thinking about establishing a company in Germany, you will get help from our colleagues and our team with all issues regarding visa and entry regulations, and also all about the financing and incentives, meaning incentive programs, taxation, customs, and all that, and also about employees and social security. So you will find all of this in one spot, basically. And so just get in touch with us and we will be happy to help. But now let's jump into the Digital Hub initiative, which was mentioned by Kim in the beginning. It is an initiative by the Federal Ministry of Economic Affairs and Energy, and then it started in 2017. What is the goal and what is our mission? Well, we want Germany to become a digital ecosystem of global importance. So we want to foster digitization, we want to foster innovation. And we want to achieve this by connecting startups, scale-ups with corporates and SMEs and academia and combine all the people and create win-win situations for all. So meaning that people really work on new digital solutions and new digital products. Here you see the map of Germany, and you see 12 little red dots. And all of these dots represent one of our digital hubs. So there is a total number of 12. And all of these hubs have a different industry focus. Let's say logistics in Hamburg, Fintech and cybersecurity in Frankfurt and Darmstadt, and so on. So for you, probably most interesting today are the Fintech and the Insurtech hubs. So when we talk about Fintech, it's quite strong in Berlin and in Frankfurt. And when we're talking about Insurtech, the industry is quite strong in Cologne and in Munich. And I'm very happy that we have Anna from the Insurtech Hub in Cologne today with us, and she will tell you a little bit more about the hub in our panel discussion. Since the start of 2017, more than 2,500 startups have joined our network. Not only German startups, but from all over. And then the same accounts for SMEs. There are already more than 2,000 SMEs who have been joining the initiative, and a large number of international cooperation, plus scientific and academic institutes. Here are some more numbers, and which is probably most interesting for you. There have been more than 500 successfully established collaborations between startups or scale-ups with SMEs and corporates. So there have been a tremendous amount of projects and collaborating between startups and other actors in the initiative. Same applies for the money. There have been 1.4 billion euros VC money invested in startups from the Digital Hub initiative since the beginning of the whole initiative. So basically, I was saying our main goal is that we really combine the strength of startups and SMEs and foster new projects and bringing those people together who are in the need of finding a partner and collaborating. So here you can see 3 examples of really success stories from the initiative. The first one is, you probably all know Volkswagen. They have been cooperating with Wandelbots, which is a startup from the initiative, or is also part of the initiative, and from the fields of robotics. And Wandelbots, for instance, they have produced like a sensor jacket, which then can train robots, and that was really helpful for Volkswagen to have this whole robot training thing going further and beyond. Another example is Motion Miner and Renus. Motion Miner is a digital logistics startups, and you could call them like a fitness tracker for companies in order to make processes more efficiently, which was quite helpful for the Renus logistics company. And another example, you probably also all know Deutsche Bahn, like the railway, and they have been cooperating with a mobility startup called SmartLane. And they have introduced like a planning software for Deutsche Bahn. So you see, these are just 3 of a tremendous amount of examples, which show that there's really a good network, a huge network of bringing startups and SMEs together. But besides bringing those different parties together, there are a lot of other activities that we do on a national and international level. So, for instance, we have training for our digital hubs and for the startups. Most of our hubs have really good accelerating programs where you can apply for and taking part at. We organize our own events, and we are at the big tech fairs. You will always find us at, for instance, in Lisbon at the Web Summit, or at the Viva Tech in Paris. So yeah, you basically find us all over on the big tech conference in order for us to get more visibility for the initiative. But then we also organize VC dinners in order to connect our startups with VCs, and lots of other international networking events. Plus, we always also do a social media marketing campaign for the initiative. So this was just like really short in a nutshell. We didn't have time to go into more detail, but I just wanted to let you know that in case you are interested in Germany and interested in getting a network, not yet establishing a physical presence maybe, but getting in touch and getting to know people, just contact us and we can help you with connecting to our digital hubs. And with that, I give the mic back to Kim, and hope to see you either later or at the Startup Germany tour in November. So for now, I say bye-bye and talk to you later.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. These were quite, some impressive facts about Germany, and also, I guess, a really good snapshot of what's happening in the Digital Hub initiative. What it's all about. It's a huge network, and I guess, it's the time is so short to go into detail here. But I mean, as you mentioned, Anna is with us, so we will have the chance to dig deeper into actually the working, the actual ongoings in a hub. What is a hub, and actually how can startups participate in a hub? So thanks a lot, Stephanie, and see you later on stage. So let's jump into the topic of today, fintech and insurtech. So of course, everybody knows that Germany is a leading European finance center. You can come up with London, but second usually is Frankfurt in Europe. It's the home of innovation and market disruption in Germany. The country is famous for its ingenuity, and you can also see that in the finance and the insurtech sector. So Stephanie mentioned some very successful startups. I mean, not only N26 in Neobank or Mambu, the tech provider, but recently the last unicorn we got was a Raisin, which merged with the deposit solution, being a top European savings platform. And in the insurtech field, there is a famous example from Berlin. It's called WeFox, revolutionizing the market, and probably Anna can tell us a little bit more about it. How threatening WeFox can be, or actually is, compared to established insurance companies. So all of these startups have one goal, and they want to become key market players, actually in an industry which is not known for being very innovative. The banking and financial industry is very traditional. Same goes for the insurance industry. But that brings upon key challenges, and a lot of these startups are called challengers. I mean, challenger banks, really being aggressive, coming into the market, and fighting for customers and market share. So, but that doesn't really mean that there's always competition between a startup and a company. There are also ways that they can collaborate, and we will find out about this and also some other ongoings in these industries together with Josefine and Anna today. So you're already on stage, but let me introduce you real quick. So first of all, Josefine, thank you for being here with us. Josefine has 21 years experience in economic development advisory. So that's really a lot. And the last 13 being with us at Germany Trade and Invest, leading the financial services practice. She has advised hundreds of financial services companies on coming to Germany from all over the world. So thank you for being here, Josefine.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, and good afternoon to everybody.
And Anna, she has quite a fantastic history. Now she works in the insurance field, in the insurance space. But actually, now she's a senior startup manager at the Insurlab Germany, which is the Insurtech hub in Cologne. Insurlab is Germany's largest Insurtech community, with more than 80 corporate partners collaborating with startups and academia to develop new business models and digitally transforming the German insurance industry. Quite a challenging task. We will learn more about that in a minute. But before that, interestingly, Anna worked for Deutsche Bank. She was vice president, actually, in a couple of roles. Quite impressive, Anna. So you were leading the field in terms of strategy, digital ventures, and also customer experience. So I guess with this background, there wouldn't be any better person on stage to discuss the future trends in these industries. So thanks also to you for being here.
Thank you for this warm welcome, and happy to be here, and also hello to everyone in the audience.
Fantastic. So let's first of all get a little bit an overview of the market. What's actually going on here in Germany? So maybe Josefine, starting with you, can you describe a little bit more what the German finance ecosystem? I mean, there is Frankfurt, of course, but there are also other locations where financial activities is very strong in Germany. And also, what are actually the advantages, not only of these locations in itself, making them strong, but also, let's say, compared to other European locations? Why is Germany such a good location for financial activities?
Well, thanks, Kim. Yeah, Germany is, as Stephanie mentioned, Europe's economic engine. And the engine needs fuel, and the fuel is the financial system behind the finance, who finances growth and development. As you just mentioned, Frankfurt is the most known location in Germany, but as you could see in your back in the spots for the digital hubs, Germany has more than one interesting location for the financial industry, which is, for I would say, one of the specifics for the German industry as at all. You don't have the economic center or the capital which centralizes all the industries, including the financial industry. Germany is decentralized, which is quite important to know and to have in the background when you start thinking about entering the German market, the regional structure. And so Germany has 5 financial centers ranked within the top 50 of Global Financial Center Index, which is, of course, Frankfurt, but followed by Hamburg, Stuttgart, Munich, and Berlin. So 5 quite interesting locations, and together with Cologne, as an insurance center, very interesting to find partners, to find the niches in the industry. You mentioned before traditional industry, so all the incumbents, I could bother you all with figures. That's 1,300 banks, more than 500 insurance companies, loads of auditors, private equity, and so on and so on.
That's really impressive, and I bet you know them all, but that would lead probably too far here.
And that's why I shorten it up and say all of them need digital processes. And that's the huge impact Fintech, Insurtech from all over the world can help the German financial sector to improve, to digitalize, and meet the requirements of today's innovative industry trends, to develop new products, new services for the digital world. And that's the impact also the hubs can play to bring together incumbents with the tech solutions.
Absolutely, I totally agree, and I guess we will, dig deeper into the actual challenges of these companies, and how, for instance, startups can help, to digitally transform and bring these companies again up to speed. But let's focus a little bit more on the geography again. First of all, I guess it's like a key insight that Germany is decentralized, not only in terms of traditional industries, manufacturing, and so on, but interestingly also in the financial industry. Because as I mentioned, I guess when you come from outside Europe, you think about London and Frankfurt, where the European Central Bank sits, and Deutsche Bank and so many others have their headquarters. But let's put Germany a bit into perspective, on a European scale. When you come from outside of Europe, especially, why would you choose Germany and, for instance, not go to Amsterdam or not go to Paris, and one of the other also major, cities or countries?
Well, because Germany is the largest market. So you get the home market together with the possibility to expand to Europe. As we have many guests from outside Europe, let me shortly broaden down a little bit the discussion. When we talk about Europe, we talk about the continent. When we talk about the European Union, we talk about 27 countries only without the UK, who left European Union a couple of months ago, with the impact that you can't bring financial services from the UK to the other European and EU member countries without any problems anymore, which was possible, which means London lost importance from its position to be the European leader in financial services, because it's no longer the place from where you can work Europe-wide without additional implications, which is a major favor for Frankfurt, for instance, who raised together with Amsterdam and Paris many business from London. So there's a change in the financial sector in Europe, which brings new players in the market.
Yeah,
And
I
by
guess
the way,
that's a very
I forgot to mention, we have 27 EU members, but only 19 of them use the euro as a currency. So again, different layers, and depends on the business model, whether you work in the Eurozone or in the European Union or in Europe. So just to make that a little bit clearer. Mm.
So the currency is another good reason, or another strong reason, to come to one of the key European partner countries,
Yep.
and maybe not the UK, even though London is certainly still a major financial spot, of course. But nevertheless, let's talk a bit more about the insurance side of it, because that's maybe a little bit different here. So Anna, you're sitting in Cologne, and also our digital hub is placed in Cologne for good reasons. But can you give us a little overview of the insurance landscape in Germany?
Yeah, well, I would definitely agree with all of what Josephine said. I would also add actually that probably like the corporations we have here are also strong players, and that goes for the fintech industry like Deutsche Bank, Commerzbank, which are of course large players, but also of course for the insurance industry. So of course everyone probably knows Allianz, Munich Re, in Munich, but on the other hand, and that's why we're sitting in Cologne, we also have many other bigger companies sitting there as well, like Accelerator, which are actually also larger players in the insurance industry. And that actually is what makes our location special. Like we have a large number of local and regional mid-sized and larger insurance companies in our network. And that's why it is very great if you're active in the insurance industry to also consider Cologne as a place to actually set foot.
So thank you, Anna. Can you tell us a little bit more about the role of Insurlab? I mean, you're located in Cologne, and large parts of the industry comes from the region. But what is your scope? In terms of your activities, do you only focus then, on the region, or maybe even on the state of North Rhine-Westphalia? Or what's your impact in Germany?
Yeah. So maybe let's start with our mission. I mean, all of you have already heard we're one out of the 12 innovation hubs. Our focus lies on the insurance industry. Basically, our goal is to bring incumbents and startups together to actually drive forward innovation in the insurance industry. So, but I would say on the startup side, we're not solely focusing on the classical insurtechs. We're focusing on any startup that brings innovative solutions that are of value to an insurer in the German-speaking market. So basically, that's why we're also searching, of course, not only for national and local startups, but also for international startups that are interested in the German market. Because, we're definitely convinced that, apart from Germany, there are like many great ideas out there in the world that are of value to our national system. And basically, I can give you like a very brief overview of our members. Let me share this short slide with you. Hold on. Here it is. So basically, what you will see in a second, probably, is these are our key players that we bring together as Insurlab Germany on a regular basis. So on the left-hand side, you see roughly 40 insurance companies that are part of our network. And in the middle part of the slide, you see leading Insurtech members, and those only refer to the startups that are really members of ours. Of course, we have a much larger and broader network, and that is like more than 300 startups in our basically database, out of which we have roughly 150 in our network. The differentiation here is that each of these 150 startups we've met personally. We've reviewed on a qualitative basis whether we believe they are of value to our companies. And then on the right-hand side, you also see leading technology partners and consultancies who are part of our network. And basically what we do is we bring all of them together to really let collaborations come into place. That's our main goal. We have different formats for that. I can talk more about it in a minute if you're interested, but maybe for now, that gives you a brief overview of the broad range and large scope of our network.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. When we look at this, or we looked at the overview, that so many companies were listed that are not traditional finance companies or insurance companies, but so much more. And you already mentioned that you're open in your network also to companies that can provide value to the insurance industry.
Yes.
Maybe we can talk a little bit about some examples here. What kind of verticals would that be?
Well, for example, you also saw SAS or IBM as part of our network, which are leading technology players. And they act both as basically enabler for startups, because either they offer, for example, cloud credits to our partners in our network, which is quite relevant, or they also act as sales partner for them. But also in terms of our insurance companies, of course, they also benefit from their experience in terms of technology, knowledge, and know-how. So we have different formats, as I mentioned, like we also organize our own events and workshop formats where we bring together key experts around the strategic focus fields of our insurance members. And that's, of course, where our network benefits from a broad range of players. And as you saw, we also have different universities in our network. So even taking always a look at the scientific side, we believe is very important as well. Like what are the newest trends, newest research methods, statistics, etc. So that's the whole broad range.
So you're actually covering quite a range of topics in the hub. Basically, whatever brings value to the companies, to the member companies, right?
Exactly.
So, I mean, all of this would probably be redundant if there weren't any problems in the industry. So let's talk a bit more about the challenges of the industry. I mean, we said these companies face certain challenges. I mean, not economic, no, but also transformative challenges, technological challenges. Josefina and Anna, both of you, what kind of key challenges do you see in the financial industry and in the insurance industry in Germany? I mean, not only in Germany, probably, but in general.
Maybe I can start. I wanted to share a slide and still work on it. I think for the especially for the insurance industry. Can you see the slide now? I hope.
Yes, we can see the screen.
That's exactly. That's an overview the German Association of Insurance Industry has published, but I think that's valid for incumbents in all of the financial industries. That's the challenge of the digital transformation. So what the incumbents, that little factory here in the center, is facing is to have new distribution channels. Say it could be app, it could be online. It definitely needs new IT systems. It needs new solutions for risk analysis. It could be artificial intelligence by big data. It needs better processes, which could be facilitated by, again, artificial intelligence, robotics. There are new risks, especially in the insurance industry. It means new products have to be developed due to the digital, ongoing risks. And of course, it needs better digitalized services because a customer wants to have digital solutions. She wants to click on the app and want to have the either chatbot or the solution or the agent or whatever is available, or even the new product or contract given. So I think that's the general overview about the challenges of the incumbents all over the place for Germany, but for other countries as well, and the market opportunities for the tech companies from all over the world is to help the incumbents sort out these problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, Josefina, let's stick to that slide for 1 more minute.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect example here. But I guess Anna wanted to comment on it as well.
Yeah, definitely. No, but I think I see here the most important things that we also observe when talking to our member companies. I would just add maybe there's like one additional major challenge, which is culture. So basically taking everyone on board on the employee side throughout the company to actually transform. And this is also very important for you as startups in terms of expectation management, probably, that it might be a lengthy process, definitely also because there are many bureaucratic hurdles, of course, on the corporation side due to strict regulation as well. But like taking everyone on board, like starting small, having like a more risk appetite, fostering risk appetite in the companies, that is also a very important thing. What our insurers are also interested in is any solution that is creating additional touch points with new customers, because right now they're like maybe most of the time they are just basically in touch with their customers when there is a claim or a damage, and that's of course not like the best opportunity. So they're actually looking for chances to be more interactive with their customers, and that's why we're also usually speaking of digital ecosystems, where they're actually looking beyond the classical insurance solutions and really trying to find out what more is there in the universe that could be of value to our customers, both on the private segment but also on the business segment. And I think making use of the big data, which is already explained here, is like also a really tough challenge. I mean, insurers have like a lot of customer data, but really using them for new innovative solutions can be like a major challenge to them, either of course because of regulation like data compliance, data privacy, GDPR, those kind of things, but also because they don't really have the tools to actually analyze these kind of data.
Yeah, just to give you an example, thank you for these insights. In terms of data, I recently talked to one of the biggest insurance companies in Germany, Signal Iduna. They have actually a venture studio, one startup unit, let's say in Berlin. And one of the key problems, or let's say opportunities, what they see is that exactly it's about data. No? They collect so much data from millions of people, from the whole country or even from countries. They know so much about people, but they don't really do anything with the data. So what they have in mind is that they will not longer be the traditional insurance company, but they will become more, let's say, a data company, an information company, which offers services to the customers they already have. So it's basically building upon what they already have, and monetizing actually the data wealth. But of course, that's a great idea. But the question is, how do you get there? And that's always the question for all of these challenges that both of you mentioned here. So let's talk a little bit more about the actual interaction between a startup and one of these companies. I guess, yeah, that's perfect, Josefina. And I mean, this happens, in many different ways. Some companies, try to set up their own innovation units. Some have, venture capital funds to get closer to startups and actually build a relationship financially. But others maybe just become a member in a hub, like yours in Cologne, Anna, right?
Yeah, correct. That's exactly correct, because they actually get the chance to actually also talk about different topics of their interest with their competitors. So that's, of course, like 1 important advantage about becoming part in a hub. But of course, they also have a broader access to interesting startups that we source centrally and basically match directly with those kind of members who are looking in the particular field the startup is interested in. So we have different formats, as I mentioned before. So, for example, we have our own events and workshops where we bring together leading speakers on topics and also to exchange ideas. We also have, for example, project groups where, for example, one of our project groups is focusing on the topic sustainability, like how can you actually be compliant to the new goals on European level, but also do even more than that, like actually taking on employees on that journey and basically fostering this new culture within an organization. And then we usually source these topic groups also with interesting and suitable startups so that they can actually discuss with our members and the experts in that area to design new solutions. We're also just setting up, for example, an experimental room where we are trying to connect startups and incumbents for POC so that they can, in a ring-fenced environment, really build something new like a prototype and actually really quickly test it in the market. But I would say one of our key initiatives to actually foster collaboration is our Accelerator Program, which takes place once a year. So we've got a multiple-step selection process there where we particularly find startups that are really offering solutions in the focus and strategic fields of our members. And we then basically for 6 months accompany those 15 startups usually very intensively, offer them workshops, access to our investor network, for example, really coach them. Each of them get like a mentor from the top management of our companies. And that's they both start basically then with the goal of getting into a project together by the end of the program and actually presenting it to the audience. So this is really of value, and we've seen a lot of impact through this program. It's a sort of a boost to either get set foot in the market or to scale in the market because we also have like 2/3 of our participants are usually already established players who've already won one corporate partner, but are then looking to scale. And we've seen many cooperations come into place from this program, and it's definitely an interesting opportunity that you should have in mind.
Yeah, this is actually, thanks a lot for the overview of all of these programs. I mean, this is quite impressive. That you support your insurance companies in so many different ways, and then give, on the other hand side, of course, startups the opportunity to connect and to scale with these companies. But what does it actually mean? I mean, for a startup that is not part of your community. And when I look at the chat, there are questions about what does it actually mean for non-European startups? So how international is your community, and how can actually foreign or even non-European startups become part of your hub? I mean, it sounds fantastic, but I can imagine. I mean, looking at our global audience here today, for instance, everybody's asking, sounds great, but what's in it for me? How can I join?
Yeah, sure. Happy to take that question. So there are multiple ways, basically. So of course, you can apply for our Accelerator Program because that is particularly designed not only for national startups, but also international startups. All of our events there are held in English. Sorry, German wouldn't be good. So that's really international scope. Same goes for our startup network. Which you can easily apply to via our website, and it's totally for free. And we offer a lot of interesting benefits there, for example, as well, like also access to local investors, event opportunities, etc. So just check out our website for more information. But that is also directed just the same as for international startups. And even when you look on our member side, we have, for example, Celros, which is a French scale-up in our network. What I would say is the only prerequisite or it only makes sense, for example, to become a member at Insurtech Germany as an international startup is when you have a German-speaking representative, because that's really what we see in terms of working together with our insurance incumbents, that language is still a restriction. And if you don't have a German-speaking member in your team, you can definitely be part of our accelerator and you could be part of our network, but it's certainly a much bigger advantage actually to have someone who is able to speak the language.
Yeah, I can imagine this is not only a problem or a challenge for the insurance industries, but probably also when it comes to banks and other financial service providers. But Josefine, I mean, you're talking to foreign companies, all over the place. What are your experience in that respect, and what can you advise, foreign startups and companies, when they have an interest in joining the German market?
As Anna mentioned, have a command of German is very helpful. So either have local, the employee number one for Germany already on start, or have a local advisor, or work with partners who, understand the language, but understand the culture, the business culture as well. Because what we quite often see is international companies, startup, whatever comes, whatever vertical says, I have product X, it's absolutely top in market X, so it must work in Germany as well. And we say, did you really think about it? That product, that service, whether it's financial service or whether it's a education product or whatever, does it fit the market needs? So make sure you do your homework, do some market research in advance, find out, is there a need for the product, who will need it, and how to best approach this kind of target group. So that's first recommendation. Make sure you have a service, a product which really finds a market in Germany. Then it definitely makes sense to approach to the market, because the market is open for companies from Europe, from all over the world, all have the same conditions. Also, the German regulator, by the way, the BaFin, has the level playing field rule. So there is no advantages for domestic companies or whatever. Companies from all legislations have the same kind of standards to fulfill. So same rules for everybody.
So it means same rules apply. It doesn't matter if you're a German company or if a foreign company.
Exactly.
You just need to make sure you've done your homework, that you can actually approach the customers. I mean, we talked about language, we talked about business culture, topics that I guess that are very important still, especially in the industries that we're talking about today. But getting your business model right, and finding the right way to adapt to the German market, to government rules, to regulatory standards, and so on, can be quite challenging sometimes from the outside. So Anna, what kind of support do you offer to startups in that respect?
Yeah, I mean, we are also partnering with players, of course, like, for example, Cologne Business or North Rhine-Westphalia, who are actually also helping in terms of setting up a business locally, for example, getting a closer look at what is required. We, for example, also have a co-working space at Insurlab. And of course, that also enables like direct access to consultants and our members. But I would say really as Insurlab Germany, we're definitely, for these kind of questions, we're definitely in need, or like we actually have our partners in the network who help in these kind of questions, like you, for example, as well, because we're really focusing on then connecting these Insurtech startups or startups for this scene with the right players in the market.
Okay, thank you. We have one more question in the chat, which focuses more on the business development side. So of course, when you enter a new market, eventually, of course, you want to win new customers, want to grow. But how do you, Josefine, in your team, at Germany Trade Invest, how do you support or how do you respond, let's say, to such requests when a company has an interest in the German market? Well, I can imagine not established a company and like a legal entity yet, but nevertheless wanting to grow here. What can you offer in that respect?
For companies in all verticals, and here for this particular question of an insurance policy platform, we can offer, of course, market information. We can offer connections to the different players, but we are limited. We don't do business development as such. So you have to do your homework again alone and connect with the partners, find ways, and find a German speaker who helps you finding the clients. We can advise about interesting events, about interesting networks. Whom should you meet? Whom should you talk to? That's the range of the services we can offer. But by the end of the day, our mission is to bring foreign companies to a physical presence in Germany. So we can help you when you start establishing your own office in Germany. That's by the end of the day, the mission of Germany Trade and Invest, to help international companies to set up physically in Germany.
Which is already quite a lot when we consider you're offering all your time, all your information for free for companies. You are there helping them to get to the right people, getting to the right information. And if you cannot answer a question, you know someone who can. I guess I can imagine that's all very valuable, especially when you're new to a country and to an ecosystem. But nevertheless, I mean, at Intralab, it's not so much about creating a new company, and having this economic development perspective. As I understand, Anna, you focus more on the actual contribution to the network, right?
Yes.
So when we compare investing in Germany, building a company compared to becoming part of a community, how does it relate from your perspective?
Yeah, I would say the first step is basically when you come from abroad to talk to GTI, for example, to set up the company, get all the knowledge there, and then basically on your area of interest, become part of a community like ours, like on the insurance side. And we then make sure to actually connect you to the right industry players and partners and build new business opportunities. And that's basically how we interact together. But of course, we as Intralab Germany, we're also not independent. Like, we also talk to our partner hubs. So we might also bring you like some even more valuable contacts that could be of interest to you. We also have, as I mentioned before, an investor network. So even when it is funding, you still have you're in need of funding opportunities, we can connect you there as well. So I would say the range is broad, but we're certainly more the succeeding partner of GTI. So the first step would be to actually establish the company, and then for becoming bigger and actually entering the market, then we are the right address.
All right. So that was very insightful from both of you. I guess we covered a lot of information about the whole industry, about the industry structure, about players in the industry, their challenges, but also looking at ways how startups from abroad can actually join the German market and join, for instance, an insurance or Insurtech hub and ecosystem. So now that we have 5 last minutes here, let me ask the audience again. Feel free to post any further questions in the chat. Well, we still have a few minutes to answer them. But nevertheless, I want to ask you again, because we're talking about here this global call. Let's say this is a global event. So we have participants from all over the world here. Just all of you, and that's good that Stephanie joins us again here for the last round. So a question to all 3 of you. In a nutshell, what can you advise to our audience, sitting somewhere all over the world with an interest in the German Insurtech or Fintech market right now? What's the key takeaway here? Anna,
Anna, go ahead.
I really like Josephine's point, like know your market, know your customer, know the local regulation, which is very important. And they're going to ask you as a first step about it, like how familiar are you with topics like GDPR and data privacy, of course, at the top of everyone's head right now. I also mentioned the language bit. I would definitely recommend that to have someone in your team who is able to speak German. But that's basically what I would say.
Perfect. These were already two things. Okay, let's go to Stephanie. What would you recommend?
I'd say drop us an email and tell us about your business model, and we can then find how we can help you and see what you are needing and what we can help you with.
Perfect. Josephine.
Oh, Stephanie got my point. Drop us an email.
I'm sorry.
Let us know what your demand is, and we help you. So that's the message for Andrea. Let's talk bilateral and see how we can help.
All right. Sounds good. That was a pretty clear call to action here. I guess if there are no further questions from the audience, there is nothing else then left to me than closing our webinar of today. So thanks a lot, Anna, Josephine, and also Stephanie, for your input, for your time. I guess we covered really some very important topics here. Of course, we can always dig deeper, but on the other hand side, I would advise the audience, if you have any questions, contact us, contact Josephine, Stephanie, and Anna. Send them an email and reach out, and you will get your individual support. So this was the second webinar of our webinar series this week. We have one more webinar tomorrow focusing on smart cities, and one more webinar on Thursday. We talk about the potential of digital manufacturing in Germany. So if you're interested in that as well, Stephanie just posted the link in the chat. It was a pleasure to be here with you. So many greetings to all of you all over the world. Stay safe, stay healthy, and hopefully see you soon in Germany. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining.